Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Pipebomb Sessions. Today, we're going to be talking all about the man who WWE has basically, been on this whole tour about for the better part of 2025. We are officially coming to a head, coming to a close. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is indeed the John Cena Farewell Tour. John Cena's Farewell Tour, man, has been rocky and quite a roller coaster to say the least, huh? But would a John Cena final run really be anything without it being a roller coaster like type run? I didn't think so. A lot of people were on board, off board the roller coaster. Of course, we thought that the second half of Cena after he turned back into a face was a much, much better run than the first half, even though the first half is when he showed up more often. I personally would have wished that, yes, we did see one at least face to face Gunther and Cena, just maybe a promo battle of some sort before we did get this final matchup happening. However, Gunther said it himself, hyped up the matchup. He said he's going to pretty much make Cena tap out when it comes to Saturday night's main event. I'm not sure if I can see Cena tapping out. However, is it gonna be like the first time? Not really. He has tapped out to previous superstars. That's been many, many, many years ago. So if Gunther is going to be the guy to take Cena down and then afterwards make him tap, as Gunther is saying so valiantly, let's see if he got in him, or is the leader of the C Nation, the GOAT, going to pull off one last unlikely victory to put in his resume? Honestly speaking, I think this is actually a matchup that's a 50-50 shot. I don't believe that Gunther is shoo-in and tied in to definitely win this matchup. Reason being is because Gunther does not need this matchup. I think it's as simple as that. He's already established. He retired Goldberg earlier in the year. I just don't feel like Gunther will gain as much from this matchup. But then the same could be said from John Cena. John Cena's retiring his final matchup. Does he really need the win over Gunther? And that is where I come to the conclusion that, you know what? This matchup is actually more of a 50-50 shot than originally I thought of. Because, yes, I get it. You want to establish Gunther. You want to get him, like, all high and mighty. You know, maybe he's, like, the modern day guy who's like a Randy Orton type, just going after legends and retiring them. You know, that, like, that type of. I don't know if Gunther needs it. I mean, the guy was a great IC champ. His world title reign was okay, but not terrible. Um, I mean, and he took care of Goldberg already once. Like, I don't understand. I have a feeling that obviously, if Gunther does indeed beat John Cena, going into Mania season, I definitely see Gunther and Brock Lesnar having a confrontation, and possibly Gunther even going after him at either WrestleMania or fast forward all the way to next year's SummerSlam. I know I'm like kind of jumping the gun when it comes to that stuff, but I just want to really establish and make sure what are we getting into. I don't see a large benefit for either superstar in this situation. And that is the reasoning behind why I think it's truthfully a 50-50 shot between who can win this matchup between John Cena and Gunther this Saturday night's main event, Cena's final matchup. Of course, I'm sure everybody who's been following and knowing and hearing is looking forward to it. I mean, hey, I don't I don't foresee it being a bad matchup. Maybe like a decently long matchup, I would say. Maybe no more than like 20-25 at most. And I think that's plenty of time. As long as WWE doesn't cut off Cena if Cena's trying to say something, which I don't expect them to do because honestly speaking, I think when they did it to Goldberg, they really didn't care like that, unfortunately. And it is what it is. The truth is truth, or else they would have never cut you off, Mr. Goldberg. Shit. Uh Cena is a whole different ballpark, whole different ball game. So whatever they got planned for him, I expect Cena to just be there. Question is someone going to come and appear, make maybe like some kind of statement on Cena, establish themselves for the future as well? I could see possibly something that happened. Maybe even now again, could I see this happening? Possibly, especially after what happened on Raw. Could I definitely see it happening? Maybe. But I'm going to say that someone who's going to try to establish themselves maybe further could be the Vision. I don't know why, but maybe the Vision comes out post matchup. Cena's doing the celebration, all this and that. He's done, and like he's about to leave the ring, and he gets his ass beat. I mean, it's simple as that. He gets his ass beat, and they take him out. They establish themselves as the group going into what the first anniversary of the Netflix on Raw, where of course Braun Breaker is facing CM Punk for CM Punk's world title, which I also believe Braun Breaker should win to really get that group going again. They haven't really done anything ever since they turned on Rollins. Rollins got hurt and he's been gone, right? We don't know what's been going on with this situation. So for me, I'm like, what is indeed their plan for the Vision? I get it. Braun Breaker was supposed to win the title. Again, I expect him to win that title on that first Raw of the new year. I fully expect that man to win that title and walk out of there as the new World Heavyweight Champ. If there's other plans, I just don't know how much further they're going to really kind of milk out CM Punk and the Vision and just do that. I mean, we got to establish new stars, guys. I was just speaking to a few people about this. Like, there's not even enough high tier players. Like, there's barely enough mid tier players right now. The tag division is like garbage on Raw, and that's exactly why we just saw the newly reformed Usos. Jey Uso's single run, yes, ladies and gentlemen, has officially come to an end. Hey, he won some singles gold in the process, so why not? But him and his brother Jimmy are officially back in the tag team title picture. I think this is all going for the same situation. They're going back in the tag title picture. I see them definitely taking those titles off of Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. And what is that going to establish? The Usos having some gold. What happens when Roman comes back? He sees that, some extra motivation. Now Roman is going to get some gold. Now originally I've been saying that it's going to be Roman versus Cody 3, right? It could still very much definitely go that route. However, if they want the bloodline, in a sense, to stay on Raw together, I can see Roman going after the World Heavyweight Champ instead. And let's just say, if Braun Breaker does indeed beat CM Punk, then Roman wins either the Rumble, the Chamber, or just being Roman goddamn Reigns. He says that he's getting a title shot, and he goes after Braun Breaker. Highly anticipated matchup. People have been waiting for this one for quite some time. However, are you really willing to let Braun Breaker hold on to the title for about 4 months? That's the only iffy thing. However, I mean, WWE got into this little phase at some point where we needed only long title runs to make it look good. However, I think it's not as important anymore. I believe that short title runs, if done correctly, are just as massive for someone. Are just as massive. So I think it really just depends and comes down to the little nitty gritty of how they're going to pull off this run with Braun Breaker if he does indeed win the title. Now, if Punk wins and retains his title, I'm not really sure. I do still think that Cody, Roman, regardless of who the world champ is, regardless of the Usos win the tag titles back, I think Roman Cody is very, very high on the list, regardless of any of these outside factors. Highly marquee matchup. Characters are a little bit different, I would say. And possibly we can even mix it up and do something different as well. Maybe, add a stipulation or just make it a little bit different is what I'm saying. That's all. I think that's very, very interesting, right? Another interesting thing that happened was, well, two more interesting things. See, it's cool because I was going to come into this week's episode and say, what is WWE doing? Because after the John Cena's gone this Saturday, they have nothing established and looking forward to. I was wrong because they have the Usos now back in the tag division, getting that a little bit ramped up and getting a little interesting, right? You got the whole dynamic with the Judgment Day in the back. I found that very interesting because Liv Morgan had some things to say. She seemed a little put off when Raquel actually came out and confronted Stephanie Vaquer and said she's coming after that woman's world title that Vaquer has. Now that's an interesting matchup. I know Raquel has gained a lot of fans, including myself, over the last few months because she has significantly improved her mic and definitely her ring skills. Like, that advice she took quite some time back has easily gotten her to her next level, especially in ring wise, and I think it's showing off now. Now back to my Liv Morgan point. Liv Morgan kind of questioned Raquel like, "Oh, you didn't let me know that you were gonna go out and do that." And Raquel didn't really like Liv saying that because she didn't think she needed Liv's permission. Liv then goes out with Roxanne, of course, helps her win. That matchup that Roxy had. Again, Roxanne did not ask for Liv to come out there. She self-suggested. I feel like this whole Liv comeback dynamic is now going to show that the Judgment Day actually started to move forward and just had some things happen without Liv Morgan there. I understand they may not have gold as they did when Liv was there, and I think that's going to be the big selling point on the other side of this little internal battle that's about to happen. However, it just seems like the chemistry of the Judgment Day and everybody is a little bit more getting along and happier, while Liv was not as, let's say, group vibey, right? Like, I really can't find a right word for it at the moment. However, I think that's a very, very interesting thing. Let's definitely keep an eye on that. I do think the implosion of Judgment Day could be also happening on that first Raw of the new year. I do think that possibly that's where we're leading up to. We can see, and I'm going to say, I actually think Liv Morgan and Dirty Dom get kicked out. It makes the most sense. Let the Judgment Day kind of keep going and living through whoever the other members are. Maybe you establish and add other members in the future. I don't know. That could be a thing. Another very surprising point was, the end of the match of Logan Paul and LA Knight. My man, LA Knight, got not only beaten the hell out of, he got tsunamied multiple times, not only in the ring, they chased his ass backstage, beat the hell out of him more, and then they tsunamied him through a freaking car. If that's not writing off LA Knight, I don't know what is, but I'll see you later, LA Knight. Really, really, of course, as you guys know, huge fan of LA Knight. I was really hoping they would do better for him. The last couple weeks, man, it seems like he's just going punish and things like that. I even heard that, maybe he's just going to return at the Rumble and then kickstart his, run from there. Let's see. Let's see how it happens. I expect him to still be participating in the Rumble. He's going to get a huge pop. Let's hope we see him in Saudi in about a month and a half. Get some rest, LA Knight. You've had quite a year indeed, my guy. Quite a freaking role in the WWE indeed. I know recently may not look up, but hey, future may be different. That's all I'm going to say, right? I think it's very interesting how WWE is kind of molding what's happening. And then one little thing was we saw a little bit of a staticky right before LA Knight went through that car. Man, I just feel like that's WWE telling us that someone's coming. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it seems like someone's coming. It's kind of giving me some similar vibes of where we saw that staticky. If I see it happen for the next couple weeks, if I see some weird stuff happen where, the Savior or some BS like that starts occurring, and WWE starts trying to put this whole thing of, maybe someone needs to stop the Vision and all this, and then what establishes the Vision's dominance more, taking out a guy like John Cena, maybe taking out someone else. I don't know. Now, do I think someone's going to come? Yes. Do I think they'll come alone? Not really sure about that part. Haven't really given it thought. Again, it was very quick. Maybe 2 seconds, no other hints. I do think, though, everything happens on WWE programming for a freaking reason, and it's 100% someone arriving. I'm going to give my early prediction, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's going to be some type of group involving the man himself, Y2J Chris Jericho. I don't know why. That's my early guess. He's popped into my head. That's my guess. That's who I'm going with, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Pipebomb Sessions. Appreciate it as always for the likes and love and subscribes, man. Don't forget to keep them coming. Let your friends and family know. Let everybody know it don't matter. Pipebomb Sessions be running year round, guys. Enjoy this Saturday night's main event. Enjoy John Cena's last matchup. Let's see what WWE got in store for my man to celebrate the end of his farewell tour. And honestly, good luck to Gunther or Cena, whoever's going to be winner of that matchup. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great rest of your week.